Welcome to Rom Wills Money Matters. Being at the bottom financially. Now, I'm going to share a little bit of personal stuff about me because I want y'all to understand something. One of the reasons I'm big on money is I've been at the bottom financially at different points in my life. Now, I've talked publicly about, how I lived, the first years of my life. I mean, my mother was getting welfare payments and everything, and I lived at what was at the time a bad neighborhood in Washington, D.C. And, I mean, it was some craziness, so that was one time. And then there was... Well, it was all right the rest of my life, except there was a period as an adult after having a business that it was tough financially. And now I ain't going to get into how that was. Ironically, it wasn't from the business. The business was all right, but there was some other stuff that messed up my credit. And I'm going to talk about the credit thing in my next podcast. But it was tough. I mean, there was a point in my life where I'm married, got a young baby, got a child on the way, sleeping in a friend's basement. All of us sleeping in a friend's basement. And then there was some other stuff. It was tough. It was tough. But clawed back from that. And see, that's the thing to understand. And first, let me be clear. Let me be abundantly clear. There's no shame in it. There is no shame. Things happen. In a particular case when I hit the financial bottom, it was trying to be responsible for some other stuff with family, and I'll leave it at that. Or, other people, they can just have a medical emergency or something. And then, of course, you got some people, they can hit that financial bottom or the bottom financially just because they had poor spending habits and stuff. It happens. I mean, it happens to celebrities. Indeed, with millionaires, mind you, the average millionaire goes bankrupt 3 times. Let me say it again, the average millionaire. People have gone through it. In fact, one of the things I like to read is a story of success, and people will talk about their bad times. I'll give you a great example, Tyler Perry. Now, I mean, I don't know if he's officially a billionaire or not, but he's up there. But he was talking about the time of sleeping in his car and everything. And, just having to stretch some cookies out a week. And indeed, there was a time when I had to, and now I wasn't at the bottom financially, but let's put it like this. There was a brief period. And this was in recent years where it was tough for me financially. With a business, full-time job, but it was still tough. I'm not going to give the exact circumstances why that was, but let's put it like this. There was a brief period, that food that's not that good at those, those dollar store type of places was looking real good to a brother. This is with a business. This is with a full-time job. But like I say, at the point, I was just making just enough money to keep basic bills paid, just enough money. And that happens. And then I was taking some, I'll just say some financial risk. Because that's one thing in business, it could be tough. And, I've gone through that, but I'm not there anymore. I've always built back up. And that's an important thing because that's the thing. Things can happen. There are a lot of things that can happen beyond your control. You could have a very successful business. You could have an extremely successful business, but something beyond your control happens. Like with COVID. COVID knocked out so many businesses. It's scary. It is scary how much the lockdowns and everything just knocked out businesses. And indeed just messed people up. There were people, there's a general moratorium on evictions, a general one, but they still got some. They still having some. And that's only in certain places that they have that. Or people losing their houses, have to move out their houses because they can't afford it. So anything can happen. But the thing about being at the bottom financially, you can always build back up. And that's the key. But the first thing is to understand, okay, how did you get to this bottom? How did you get to this bottom? Yeah, like I said, it could have been something like a medical emergency, something, anything, or it could have been your bad spending habits. Whatever it is, however you got there, the beauty of it is you can always build back up. And that's an important thing with money. See, the thing with money, understand something. Money by its nature flows. Try not to think of money as like the physical dollars. Indeed, in this day and age, it's possible to spend a ton of money, but you don't have a physical dollar on you. You don't have dollars or coins or anything like that, that cowrie shells, whatever. It's in many cases, only time you would need cash, it's rare. If you just happen to find that rare vendor at a flea market or something who doesn't have a machine to take credit cards. And I do say rare because, with the technology nowadays, people can put a device on their phones, which are ubiquitous now or more ubiquitous, and still make that money. So the cash isn't needed as much, even though people still use it. But you got to think about money not as the cash or even the electronic bleeps, the zero and the ones and all of that. Think of it as an energy flow. So you're going to have periods where the flow is low, but the thing is you can always open up that flow. And that's how you have to look at it. So when you hit the bottom financially, okay, you there. It don't feel good. The beauty of it is you can always build back up. You can always build back up no matter what is happening. You might have to get another job. You might have to get another 2 jobs. You might have to do something. Maybe get started on that business you've been putting off. You might have to just take a chance with it. That's happened with a lot of people who's successful. They were in a bad position. You read a lot of stories. They lost jobs. They lost everything, but they had that one business idea and boom. Or, they're in a bad position, but they just happen to get that job at the right place. Because I remember during that recent period, during that time, that the financial thing was at the bottom. And even though I had the business, like I said, it still wasn't making enough. So I had to get some regular jobs. And I remember there was a point that I only had a T-shirt. I only had a T-shirt, like an undershirt to wear to work, and I was going someplace where I had to put a shirt and towel on, so I had to come to where we were staying and wash that T-shirt every night. And of course, I was able to get some, but I always look back at that. They said, it started from there. Now I got more shirts than I know what to do with. More shoes, everything. Because one thing, when I went through that period, I said, you know what? We don't need all this extra stuff. So we started from zero. But when you at that bottom, that's the beauty of it. You can always come back up, okay? So anyway, that's all I have for today. I want y'all to think about that. It's no shame. That's the main thing I want you to think about. I want you to realize there's no shame in it. It is what it is. Like I said, stuff happens. Stuff happens beyond your control, and it happens with a lot of people. I mean, I've known some people who've had to sleep in cars for a while, and now they're doing well. So, anyway, that's all I have, and you know the deal, especially if you hit the bottom financially. Let's go make that money. Talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.